Hubris is a book that narrates the political history of the Nigerian army. It was recently presented to the public at an event that provided ex-military officers the opportunity to discuss critical matters affecting Nigeria. Here's a report on the presentation.
To a significant extent, the Nigerian army has shaped Nigeria's post-colonial structure. This book, titled Hubris, traces the political history of the Nigerian army and how it has influenced the country's present state. At a recently organized event, Hubris was publicly presented in Nigeria for the first time. Ex-military officers and professionals from all walks of life gathered to be introduced to the book and explore its all-important subject.
Ojukwu had boasted that no power in the whole of Africa could defeat Biafra, while the likes of Colonel Hassan Usman Katsina and Major Murtala Mohammed said the East could be overrun in a matter of days. This was the prelude to the Civil War, which, according to the author, was fought with ineptitude on both sides. I hope the generals here will be. It's not me saying that,
The author explains what led to the book.
This would never have happened without a chance conversation with the one distinguished panelist who's not here, Air Vice Marshal Abdul Begum, Chief of Air Staff between 1980 and 1983. Chance conversation is 2014. In 2014, when we sat down as we usually did on my trips to Nigeria, we talked about the history of Nigeria, military, and all that sort of stuff. And he said to me, Tunde, why don't you just write a book about this stuff? And I said, well, actually, there's no reason why I can't write a book about it. And so that was the conversation that kind of provided the spark that led to this book. And in his absence, sadly, I would like to publicly pay compliments to him for his role in the genesis of this book.
And some of Nigeria's most decorated ex-military officers constituted a panel that reviewed the book and discussed important aspects of the Nigerian army's political history.
If you look at those who planned the coup of January 1966, none of them was one of those who rose through the ranks. And virtually all of them were in the academy together around the same time. Various academies together at the same time. They had more or less the same seniority and they had the same type of friendship. But one thing I want to also discount is that the general tendency to say that it was an Igbo planned coup has more or less been dispelled by the author, although he didn't stress it.
Now the author here spoke about coup d'etats in our country. It's not a good thing. I can tell you that because some of us suffered the consequences of that. You'll probably say you were appointed military governor, you were appointed the Minister of Foreign Affairs twice and all that. Right. I only took those jobs because I swore to defend my country and serve the army in all ways, by land, by sea, and by air, and to go wherever I am assigned as an officer to give service to the Nigerian army. So it was no compensation for being in the coup. Coup d'etats are condemnable. For whatever reasons, the army had done what we did in those times, hoping to right in the wrongs in the country. We have failed to do that. And I say here that my generation, not only officers of Nigerians, have failed our country. And therefore, like you put it in part of his book, the younger generation of Nigerians should wrest power and rerun this country back on the tracks and correct the mistakes we've made and build a better country for Nigeria. lest I be misunderstood, I don't condemn my generation. I only say that what we thought was right for Nigeria has turned out not to be so right for our country. And we should not shy away, therefore, from correcting those mistakes, not by us, not by my generation, but by the younger generations of this country.
Nobody had made any attempt to do what the Italians did. Once the founders of Italy said, oh, we have created Italy. Now we have to create Italians. We have not been lucky to find an Ataturk or some Lee Kuan Yew, some Matia, to create a Nigerian. So as we sit in this room, we are still an amorphous collection of nationalities rather than Nigerians. But we deceive ourselves each time. We will find some of our leaders who will say, I'm detribalized, I'm a nationalist, I don't want to hear about ethnicity and things like that. But we also know that these are dishonest people. The moment we decide that we want to be realistic and we want to face this question squarely, perhaps that is the time we will start to rearrange our country, reorient ourselves, and really get going. We are not going anywhere. I think, like Ghostface has said, you don't know where you are coming from, you have no idea where you are. He said, gentlemen, I'm afraid you are lost. So I think we are in the wilderness, we are lost, and we have no compass to get out. The compass that is being proposed, the direction, is that we restructure everything.
And finally, it was launched.
What is a recurring theme in Nigeria's history? It is responsible, the subject matter of the book brought us where we are today. It has shaped the history of, political history of Nigeria, mostly for the bad, since 1966. That's 52 years ago. It is true that civilian rule has returned since 1999, the Fourth Republic. That's 19 years ago. But in a large measure, you can see that the reverberations of our past in terms of military intervention still reverberates up to today. It still shapes and dictates the pace of our politics.
I am very clear that history is an incredibly important thing, particularly for a country like Nigeria, where the vast majority of the population are under the age of 25, and we have a generation of youths who are completely and utterly ignorant about the history of their country. And I'm a very clear believer in the fact that if you do not know where you're coming from, it is impossible to work out where you're going to. Nigeria's future is those youths, and they need, in order to make Nigeria's future what we want it to be, they need to be educated about where Nigeria has come from.
I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. As always, we'll be happy to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. I am Akinkunmi Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.